All right. Hello, everyone. It is a Monday evening. Dak Prescott got a new contract, and we're going to do a show about Star Wars. Wes, punch it. I have a sleeping cat. Welcome into the Living Force. We're so happy to have you here tonight or today or whenever you happen to check us out. I am one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me tonight is a full house, but not one person you may have expected. First, we have Dr. Corey Helton. Hey, dude.
What is up, guys? How you guys doing tonight? Hope everybody is doing well. Had a good week.
Yeah.
You know,
it was good. It was a chill weekend. I was like in the Utini Slack like less than usual, so I feel like I haven't seen you in a bit.
Yeah,
like we didn't talk for 3 hours a day.
I know we didn't. I kind of went AWOL this weekend. My three younger sisters came up to visit. I haven't seen them in about a year and a half. So we only live 5 hours away. But Corona was crazy, and they all work in healthcare and are vaccinated. So what do you know? We can all hang out again. So yeah,
awesome. Not jealous at all. But what I am jealous of is everyone that gets to be in the vicinity of Wes Jenkins.
Hello, everybody. I'm living on caffeine. Been living on caffeine for a while now, and it's about to wear off. So I've started to drink a game fuel.
Of course.
I love game fuel.
I hope it kicks in because your screen has now totally given away our last host, who is Jared Mays of Legends Lookback.
Oh crap! Hey, wait.
He's Jared Mays. I thought I was Jared Mays. What's happening?
It's a Luke situation.
Luke. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared from Legends Lookback, writer of countless collections and other great things on Utini, is joining us tonight for some awesome Star Wars trilogy action. Dr. Charles Hankel, I'm so sorry, is busy being a lovely partner to his lady who had a birthday. We get it. It's fine. I accept it. But Jared, thanks for filling in, dude. We're excited to have you here.
I'm excited to trill it up, man. I got a whole list full of Legends trilogies over here I'm ready to talk about. I don't know about y'all.
I cannot wait to disappoint you and everyone in the chat. Hello to everyone that's joining us on YouTube tonight. As a reminder for all of you checking us out later, we are live every Monday night on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you watch the video show, you get to see, as I turn here, my sleeping cat, Lucy, who has joined the show, who I will wake up now with pets. Hello.
She's like dark as night. You couldn't see her until she moved.
It is beautiful. But yes, tonight we are going to be talking about and celebrating some Star Wars trilogies, much like the ones I have next to me right now. Because next week, as a quick reminder, we will be starting our Into the Dark Roundtable. That's right, our second High Republic Roundtable series when Dr. Charles Hankel is back. Very excited. But before that, a couple of things we want to go over. First of all, I say first of all 5 minutes into the show. First of all, we want to say Happy International Women's Day to everyone who is female identifying in the world, in our community, on our team. The women of Utini truly make everything happen on a quite literal daily basis. We would be absolutely lost without all of you. And some of you that may not keep up with all of our content, we have some amazing women doing stuff in content creation, doing stuff in synergy, doing stuff with our literal mental health of our whole community. We would be absolutely lost without you. So we love you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There was a really cool thing on StarWars.com today. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. Did you guys see that?
I did, but talk more.
I have it pulled up, actually. Here we go. StarWars.com had a really cool "What do the women of Star Wars mean to you?" And there's a bunch of they featured a bunch of writers in here. Like it was a pretty cool article and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And it had this really cool backdrop with like
I love that design.
who all is in here? I guess is this Padme, animated Padme, I think on the left.
Yeah, this is the Forces of Destiny art style.
Oh
I think.
Okay. I was trying to pick what it was.
Way
Who's in the
back
middle? Val?
It looks like Val, right?
I think it's Leia.
I think it might be Leia.
Isn't that Leia?
Ahsoka.
With
and
Empire hair?
I
who
guess.
is on the right? I don't know
Oh
who
man,
that is.
oh wait, the
that's
right's gonna be Jin.
Ahsoka,
I think it's
and then-
Jin.
Oh, Jin. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I think
Rey
it
and
was Padme,
Ahsoka.
Rey, Leia, Ahsoka, Jin.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it this hair? No, it's not that hair. Oh no,
I was gonna
it's
say,
her.
that's definitely Leia.
Oh,
That's
it's this
also
hair.
Leia.
Is it this hair? I think it's this hair. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, there's a good article up on StarWars.com today that shows a bunch of really cool International Women's Day stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Check it
and
out.
Jose says in the chat, he posted the link in the Discord Cantina Talk channel.
Nice.
So go ahead, head over there, check that out. Yeah, and a shout out obviously to all the ladies on our team. Also, obviously in Star Wars, there's a bunch of amazing fictional women. There's also a bunch of women in the community, like the ones that spoke in the article, in the Star Wars podcasting community, like our friends at Force Toast. Special shout out to you guys who are killing it absolutely all the time, and Laura, who is killing it the Schmodown currently. Yeah, much love to you guys.
Absolutely, man. I was listening to them today while I was out running.
It's just really cool to hear something like, I don't know. And Laura's always cool as a cucumber being like, here's the exact fact. Next question.
Yeah.
Freaking baller. Love you guys. Another thing we want to say is last week we had our extraordinarily silly and quite ridiculous Jedi Council fantasy draft. And we decided, hey, we should put up a poll to see who won. And I immediately regret that decision because there was a result. 60% of the vote went to Dr. Charles Hankel, who I think immediately surrenders his votes because he's not here this week. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, 40% of the vote went to you, Wes.
that's right.
And then,
A whole 40.
yeah, but however, for those that are good at math, you may then realize that Corey and I didn't get a single vote.
Not a
Not
one.
Either of us.
a
Not a one.
single one. Not a single one. It was embarrassing indeed. And I think that's all we need to say about it, Eric.
It was a
Moving
nail
on.
biter. It was definite nail biter. So we had a total. I'm gonna multiply this. We had a total of 10,000 votes.
Whoa!
And-
Yeah.
and 4,000 went to me, and 6,000 went to Charles. So
I believe that.
decimal
I
points
think
reference.
you're,
for a minute there.
you know, I feel like the multiplier here is probably around 1,000 if I had to guess.
If you had to guess. But
If I had
congratulations,
to
Charles. Hey, maybe if you show up to work, we'll congratulate you properly. All right,
That's right,
moving
that's
on.
right. Backtrack a little
Whatever.
bit. I do want to shout out Meg in the chat. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. We do have on the website, I totally forgot about this until Meg dropped this in our chat. We do have a really cool Star Wars women collection actually on the site. It's a full collection that's got like a lot of books that are really female centric. It's really cool. You guys should check it out.
Heather wrote it as well. Our own Heather Goldman wrote the copy for it.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it wouldn't really work if the Star Wars women collection was written by, like me.
Dude.
It would be terrible.
We
Would
did
be.
do a Legends episode about the Ladies of Legends, which was a lot of
That's
fun.
right.
Legends
I remember
Lookback.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that collection. I love all these collections. It's so good. I get geeked out about her. I'm gonna hire her on supply. What can I say? And to finish off this little intro of news for you, y'all. Speaking of the amazing women of Star Wars, Claudia Gray is probably having a pretty good International Women's Day because she's celebrating her 4th week of Into the Dark being a New York Times bestseller. So for those of you keeping score at home, that's 8 straight weeks of the High Republic novels being on the New York Times bestseller list. So it's official,
That's
guys.
crazy,
Star
dude.
Wars is
Yeah.
dead. No one wanted this era.
It's awesome.
It's nothing but woke social justice warrior bullcrap,
Yep.
right, everyone? It's so bad.
Yep.
No one is buying it. It's just not worth it. I don't think anybody should do it.
Just wait till they find out
Ridiculous.
about Geode.
I know.
Then it's
Yeah.
all over.
It's all
Uh,
over.
But if you want to hear us talk about, again, the New York Times best-selling Into the Dark, that's next week. Congratulations to Claudia Gray, everyone over at Lucasfilm and Disney Books. It's really cool, honestly, that this has happened before a couple times. Star Wars books occasionally make the list, but to have this kind of consistency in this brand new era will never not be awesome. So congratulations, and I can't wait for future books to be on there with y'all. All right, over to Patreon updates now. To thank some more lovely people. We want to thank Andrew French, who joined our Patreon this week. Andrew, welcome to the family. We hope you're enjoying some cool new content on our Patreon channels, including a brand new Ghost Crew from Charlie and myself, which will be coming out on Wednesday. And as a reminder, we teased it last week, our new Patreon schedule is starting in April, where we're going to be slow releasing our Patreon content 3 months after it arrives on Patreon. So just keep an eye out because there's going to be some stuff. Maybe some Star Wars stuff coming out in like May or something that used to be on Patreon that'll be public. I don't know. Maybe some shows will come out that we'll talk about. Who's to say? Keep your eyes peeled. But Corey, I want to ask a favor for you because Charles isn't here. Would you do something for me? Would you do me a favor?
Maybe.
All right. Well, we have a patron of the week, and they wrote a thing, and we've
All right.
told them that
I'll do
Charles
that favor.
will read it.
Yeah, I don't agree to do favors until people ask me what it is. People's always like, "Hey, will
that's
you do me a
fair. That's
favor?"
fair.
I'm like, I don't know. Tell me the favor, and then I'll tell you if I'll agree to it.
But doctor, that's very dangerous territory.
It's like, what if I say yes, and they're like, "I want you to kill this guy." I'm like, "No, bro, I'm not gonna do that." But now I'm committed because I've already said yes. So here
Should
we go.
amputate my
Promise,
leg.
Just amputate your leg. Yes. That's
Can
what
you
I
come
do.
over and help me move?
No, absolutely not.
The worst. Never
the
ask your
worst.
friends to help you move ever.
No,
Hire
it's so
somebody.
cheap nowadays how people move. Use the U-Haul website and just hire people. All right. Anyway, although the last time I did that, I had to like babysit their kid for like an hour. It was really awkward. Anyway,
Patron of the week.
Patron of the week. Patron of the week this week is Bree McCallahan, and she. I would like to say she. Bree sounds like a female name. I hope it is a female.
Bree, they.
You're thinking,
use the
Corey.
singular they.
I'm
Always
thinking, let me
safe.
borrow a shovel and I'll dig this hole a little deeper. Bring me Callahan. It says, I'll say I'm from Tennessee. It's where my heart is. I went to see Star Wars in the theater when I was 6 years old on May 29th, 1977.
Wow,
4
amazing.
days after the release of A New Hope. It was a Sunday, so my entire family went. I still remember it like it was yesterday, sitting between my dad and my grandma, the first two geeks I ever loved. Oh, man, I love Grandma Geeks, guys.
Yeah.
When the first word started scrolling down the screen, I knew something special was happening. I've been in love with Star Wars every day since. A New Hope will always be my favorite Star Wars. In the late 70s, in a time when there weren't many strong female role models for little girls, Leia was a female character I could aspire to be like. Strong, courageous, and not afraid to stand up for what was right, even when the consequences were heartbreaking. I played Leia thereafter on the playground hundreds of times. I hope I did her justice. I think Carrie would be proud. Oh my heart.
God.
In a world of pessimists, internet trolls, and haters, the staff and members of Utinis shine a laser sword bright light of positivity, camaraderie, and tolerance into the darkness. Money is tight right now, but I want my extra dollars going to an institution like this one, as long as they get my name right. Question for the host. Which standalone book do you most wish had not ended where it did, but had continued the story into a trilogy? Excellent question related to this week.
Ooh.
That's
Good question.
First of all,
great
my
message.
heart, y'all. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's
Phenomenal.
Thank you,
Bree.
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah, they've got some of what I like to call the OTOG cred.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Like they're from
Absolutely.
day
TOG.
one. Oh, incredible! Great question too. So yeah, one book that we would have wished had been made into a trilogy.
A standalone book.
And we didn't plan this. I do want to say, like, we planned this episode aside from having this patron of the week question. So you gotta love the Force, right?
I like how we all turn around and look at our.
Look at
Look at everybody's looking at books. I have, I have my
One.
timeline pulled up over here. I'm like,
Do
looking
we
at the
even know
books here.
anything about Star Wars books?
Not
no,
really. Not really.
Oh man. Oh, I'll say it. I'll say one. Mine's Lost Stars. I think I'll.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
been talk of a Lost Stars sequel for years. The book ends in a place where you can definitely see the characters kind of having future adventures and trials later on in the timeline. So despite the fact that it does kind of take place over so many years, like it really does have a lot of story in it, I still think I would have loved a couple more books of Thane and Sienna. So I'm gonna say Lost Stars.
That's a good
Excellent.
one. I have a good one too, I believe. You guys know I'm privy to Mr. James Luceno.
Oh no, don't say this.
really?
You're about to give my answer.
Oh man, the Tarkin and Catalyst books actually do kind of work together pretty nicely. You could maybe turn those into a trilogy if it was spun the right way. Both of those are standalone books. I would love to see. It's like a Death Star, Rogue One vibe type of trilogy. That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And mine would be. I'm just kidding. I know exactly which one you're going to say, Jared. So you go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you?
Do it.
It's another
I know.
Lucino pick, and it's a Legends pick. I want to say Darth Plagueis.
Yeah,
I'd like
Darth
a couple
Plagueis.
of
Good choice.
books
My,
about
my wife just came to the
Palpatine's-
room and said that Darth Plagueis is what she would pick. Great choice.
Yes. High five.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some more stories about Palpatine. Working behind the scenes, murdering people. Just awesome. Just like that uplifting stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great. And also, Palpatine was way too clothed in Plagueis, so I think the further we went,
Read my
we
mind.
might be able to get some naked Palpatine, right, Meg?
Naked Palpatine, baby.
I didn't even bring him up.
Wes, what do you think, man? And the Legacy
I
chat
want
answers.
more stories in a trilogy form because that's what we're talking about from Kenobi. Let's do another Legends book.
Kenobi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Love
Kenobi. More stories about what the hell he's been doing in the sand out there.
I know.
I mean, so we really only have one, maybe two-ish because of Rebels. So, so we have a little bit of what he was doing. We know where he's watching over Luke, but I mean, there's more to it than that.
Yeah, book 2. He's just twiddling his thumbs the whole time.
Yeah, like
It's 400 pages.
it'd be great.
Screaming at Qui-Gon.
Here I am in the desert.
Still here.
No, that's a great
look
pick,
at-
Wes. I appreciate that it was Legends.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
I do love that. In the chat, we have a couple of here. Meg herself said Ahsoka, E.K. Johnson's Ahsoka novel. Get some more. That would be great. They do talk about the Phasma book that kind of got a sequel with Black Spire, right? We
Yeah.
got a little more Vi in that, so that kind of counts. What else we got here? B Nasty says Pro Dameron Freefall. I think that absolutely set up a good series of Poe adventures. More Babu Frick, of course. We got
didn't
the
think so.
Battlefront books. Get more Battlefront stuff. Ooh, and I do want to call it one more. Aaron Thompson took my first thoughts, which was Master and Apprentice.
I love Master and Apprentice.
Dang.
But it's
Yeah.
Well, I've
One of
got
my
some news
favorite
for
books
you,
of all
Aaron.
time.
There's
That's
20 books in Legends about Anakin and Qui-Gon, and they're amazing. And they're so short, you could read them all by tomorrow. The Jedi Apprentice
sounds great.
series.
All right. Well, hey, man, if you guys take over the show, then maybe I'll get to work on that. But in the meantime, Priya, thank you so much, truly, for your support of everything we do, your beautiful story and message, and that awesome question. I'm very excited to talk more about similar questions here in just a little bit. But first, we have an admittedly short Star Wars weekly roundup coming your way. Wasn't a huge week for new Star Wars news. We will be getting a new High Republic show, I believe, this week or next week. So that should hopefully have more High Republic reveals that we can talk about on this show. But we did get an excerpt from one of our most highly anticipated books of the year, Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good. That is the second in the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. It was a great first look at that book. Brought back some of our favorite characters like Aralani and Thrawn. But most importantly, it brought us the Barnes & Noble exclusive poster. If we want to take a look at that real quick, do we have that loaded up? Yeah, look at that. That is the Chiss leadership with Thrawn looking right at the camera, ruining the shot.
That's right. Did you? Of course, he's egotistical maniac. Did you guys see the comparisons that it looks like Schmidt? Or Schmitty from
yeah.
from
oh my gosh, yes.
What's the show called? New Girl, yeah. He looks just like him.
I can't decide if he looks more like Schmidt or more like Ben from Parks and Rec. Definitely one of the two.
Oh yeah, one of the two.
God,
definitely.
Both are great. Yeah, I would love that. But one of the cool things they did with this excerpt, other than show us this poster, which again is, God, it's so artistically done, if you will.
Yeah.
They allowed Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson's done the audiobook for this, as he's done all the Thrawn books. He had an excerpt. So if you don't want to read the whole thing, scroll down to the bottom of the page on StarWars.com. Listen to Mark Thompson's incredible Thrawn voice, as well as all the other characters he does. Get yourself kind of in the mood for another brilliant Thrawn entry, which I'm very excited for. Like, Corey, you gave the first book a 10 out of 10. So how's your hype level for Greater Good?
I'm super jacked for Greater Good. Like I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. The cover is sick. I love this
very
red
James
cover.
Bond.
I know it's very James Bond, which
Oh yeah,
I'm all about. Looks good.
Do we get red pages?
Ooh,
Tom.
We'll just wait until he shows up in the chat.
Let's just make that happen. Let's just delay it by 6 months and make it happen. Like, no big deal.
Red pages.
That's right.
I need this now. I just completed my re-listen to Chaos Rising a few days ago. I still don't think I can give it a 10, but I am very hyped for this sequel for sure.
I'm so excited. And of course, that book can be found on the UT New Releases page, where you can find all the upcoming releases, including Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good, and the script book for the Dr. Aphra audio drama by Sierra Kuhn, which we loved last year. Those are coming out in April. But let me see. Is there another place in Utini where you can look up your books? Maybe that got released today in a new design. Cool.
Nope.
Keep going.
Let's see. What else
not
do
a
we have?
There's not a single place that I can think of other than the Utini timeline, which has totally been updated. Oh, I have that. There we go. The Utini timeline is out today, guys, and check it out. It looks sick. Oh, man, I'm so jacked to finally get this thing released. If you go to our website, utini.com, and you click any of the links that take you to the timeline, the 3.0 version of the timeline is officially live, and I'm really, really stoked to this. I shared this in our Discord today. I don't think we've really advertised it super heavily yet. We're probably going to start doing that this next week, but it looks really, really good. I'm so excited about this. We have been working on what eventually has become the timeline over the course of 3 to 4 years, and it looks incredible. Our book database has 4,000 books in it, which is absolutely mind-blowing. All the single issue comics, everything is here. The only disadvantage that I would say right now that we ran into when we were building this thing is the comics have their own separate timeline, just because there are so many single issue comics, guys. There's like 3,000 single issue comics, and we could not get the web performance to get all the comics on the timeline. So there's some special rules associated with how we put the comics up there. Basically, if they don't have a trade paperback, they make it to the timeline. But the comics do have their own timeline as well. So I'm super jacked. It's got all the movies. It's got You can filter by all kinds of stuff, the movies, the books, the TV shows. This is one of my favorite. You can put the TV shows on here, and they all have their own artwork, and it shows the season and the episode number along with the title. It looks really, really good. Even has the Disney Plus link to take you right to the episode. So if you want to watch shows in chronological order, you can now do that on the Utini timeline. So super excited to finally release this. This has been many, many, many weeks in the making, and it's finally here. Go check it out.
Yeah, enjoy that. It's just so fun, and it defies description. I've been trying to talk about it for weeks, but I'm just like, good, looks good.
I know,
looks
it's
cool.
Good. No,
looks good. So everyone enjoy. Yes, as Aaron says in the chat, spread it to your friends, especially your friends that are getting into books. Like, what do I have to know? Who's alive? Who's dead? The timeline will tell you. What TV episode is it after? Where is it in anything? Check it out. Love it. Corey did all this coding work by yourself. Almost. The coding works by yourself. The work was a team effort. Well done.
Special shout out to the timeline folks on our team, Trevor and Frank especially. Those guys Trevor is a savant when it comes to timeline stuff. He just knows so much, and it's really an honor to work with guys like Trevor and Frank. And we have a new guy on the team too. Oz has been doing a lot of incredible work. He did all the work related to all the images and the TV shows, and has really helped figure out that format, and it looks really, really good. It's an honor to be here. Like, yes, I did the web design, but it doesn't feel like I did the majority of the work. Like, that data mining stuff is painful, and man, we have a lot of hours in this thing. So
I'm just excited that we got short stories on there now.
Yep, short stories are on there. Even the animated shorts, like what were we talking about earlier with the Women of Star Wars?
Forces of Destiny.
Yeah, the Forces of Destiny. Those are listed on there.
Oh wow,
it's crazy.
The Old Republic like YouTube trailers, like those little mini movies, those are on there. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna put those in collections tomorrow."
It's nuts, dude. Man, the way that Trevor has like tediously used this incredible decimal system to exactly place, and things move frequently. I mean, we're constantly working on this thing. Like, I think it's, toot our own horn a little bit. I think it's pretty amazing that we do this for free. I mean, because we just put this out there because
and it's funny. One of my favorite things whenever I'm reading a new review copy of a book, like I'll tell everyone, hey, I got the copy. I'll put it in Slack, and then like Trevor will Slack me 2 days later, be like, hey, so does this take place? What like month do you think this takes place in?
Of course he does.
I've read 40 pages.
How many hours after the Death Star blew up do you think that this chapter took place? Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, they are really, really talented, and it's exciting to see this finally come out.
Congrats, folks. So go check that out. Click on the books. Click on the site. Have a great time. Have a nice, relaxing weekend going through the timeline. And now what we want to talk about some of the things you guys have been reading and reviewing on utini.com. That's right. It's time for book reviews. Charles would usually be leading this segment, but because he's not here, I would like to throw it to Jared. Are you on our coda outline right now?
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Absolutely.
So
Probably.
I'll vamp for a second.
Yeah.
At this point, we are going to celebrate our book we'll be looking at next week, which is Claudia Gray's Into the Dark. We've had a couple people reviewing that thus far. So I have a couple reviews up here. And you know what, Jared, I'm going to save you for last.
I got it.
I'm going to save you for first. I'm kidding. I'm a liar. Jared, if you would like to read our first review of Claudia Gray's Into the Dark, let's see what our community thought.
All right. This is from David W. Great name, David. It's my first name, in fact. He reviewed Into the Dark.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Your name's David?
It is. Yeah, it's actually a great story if you've got time for it. It's a family name. My dad's name is David. My grandfather's name is David. Here's the kicker. His father, his name is David, and his brother, so my grandfather's uncle / stepfather, same person, his name is David.
What the heck?
So you're literally
we'll talk about it in
from the House of David.
And they decided to call you Jared instead. What?
Yeah, my mom was like, "There's too many dang Davids in this county." Yeah. So David.
Okay, sorry, I had to. Read the review. What's the Star Wars about?
Into the Dark by Claudia Gray. Ever heard of it? He gave it 5 stars. He says this is another fantastic High Republic book. I really enjoyed this book. The characters, the plot, the conflicts. Well, basically everything was great. I'm a big fan of the horror genre, and this book had some scenes that definitely delved into what I would consider horror. Agreed, definitely. I'm very interested in learning more about Orla Jarini. She was an excellent new character, and I liked how we got a glimpse of her past to understand why she chose the path that she is on. Overall, I found this to be a very fast and fun novel. Once again, I am very excited to read more of the High Republic. Yeah, great review, definitely. I want to give a shout out to Orla's buddy, sidekick, my man, Comac Vitus.
Yes.
What a great pair. I can't wait to hear you guys talk about those next week.
Yeah, definitely getting into a lot of that. The character. Yeah, yep. I almost started going into it now. I'm so excited, but I shan't. I shall instead throw it to Wes. Wes, can you please read our second Into the Dark review of the week?
Yes, our next book review comes from Paul Matthews, long time no talk to man. He read Into the Dark by Claudia Gray and gave it 4 stars, said it was a good story. That this one was good, but it had some instances where I found myself losing interest. Like many canon books, my favorite part was the characters. I loved almost all of them. However, even those characters weren't quite strong enough to keep me interested while the story moved along. A good entry for High Republic, though I don't see myself revisiting it anytime soon.
Well, drastically different tone than mine, but that's
it
fine.
is.
Yeah, like,
But
also
everybody,
legit.
I mean, everybody takes in Star Wars differently. So it probably wasn't his favorite, but still a good story, especially since it's beginning the High Republic.
Yeah. And that's what I love about all these reviews in Utinia too. I like to highlight some of the stuff, even though it wasn't Paul's favorite book. 4 stars, still super respectable. We can still respect the creators, respect the content, even if it's not your favorite book in the world. Because there's so many Star Wars books to love. There's so many Star Wars books to read. And next week, of course, we will start our thoughts on that very book. If you want to leave your review, go to utini.com, find your book on the brand new timeline, or you can just search for it in the search bar. Look at the complete book details, and look at the brand new book profile page. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Under the staff reviews, you'll see the community reviews. Leave a star rating, leave a review, make it really fun. You'll hear yourself on the show. All right, we're going to take a quick second to check out our latest merch ads. You can see what kind of merch you can get that Jose has whipped up for you. And then we'll come back and delve into some Star Wars trilogies. All right, we are back. That's right. Hello, everyone. We're here still. Me, still celebrating Dak Prescott's contract.
Oh
Jared
my God.
still lying to us about his first name. We are here
Kind
as a
of.
family to talk about Star Wars trilogies. And the reason we bring this up most clearly is obviously because last week we had the release of Alphabet Squadron Victory's Price, which was a great time. Again, I'm really loving the vibe of book releases this year, right, guys? Like, it feels like every release has had this, like, online, I don't know, like, it feels like an event, doesn't it?
Yeah, the marketing's been better.
Yeah.
Well-
Good job, marketers. I'm watching Mad Men recently as well, and I feel that. I get it. You know, I'm like one of them.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
it's been fun.
yeah, I mean, just with the conclusion of the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, I feel like everybody's just been all about talking about trilogies lately. I think I've seen other podcasters have series on trilogies. Like people are talking about how Alphabet Squadron started and ended so strong, and it's good. This book, by the way, shout out to one of our other shows. Our Discord only show, Conj Book Club, they are actually going through Victory's Price right now. I think they're covering like the first, 4 or 5 chapters, I think, tomorrow, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, in Discord. So if you're listening live, it's tomorrow on Tuesday. If you're listening to the recording, you should be able to check out those channels in Discord. They're going through Victory's Price right now. But I think there's something about trilogies that is just Star Warsy. I don't know.
Yeah, it's inherently Star Wars.
Yeah. There's a lot of trilogies that I didn't even think of. There's a good mix of trilogies and standalone books. It's not just all or nothing, right? It's not just all trilogies, not just all standalones.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the go ahead, Jared.
I was gonna say, I think that Contra Book Club, Corey's got my mind all confused over here.
Yeah.
They did the first 8 chapters on Saturday because I listened to it live.
Okay,
Saturdays.
I was like, oh, what day is it? I mean, I'm normally podcast on Thursdays, so
What
it's a little
year is
confusing.
Yeah. You're like Andre Dawson getting pulled out of the Wrigley Field's ivy.
So check out those on Saturdays. And of course, if you're in our Patreon feed, those do get released on Patreon audio only as well. But I want to bring up another thing about trilogies to kind of start off our talk into the idea of Star Wars trilogies as a whole. As we say, Star Wars at its core is made up of trilogies. And one of the great things I want to say right now about having Jared on this show is that he will write a lot of your show notes for you when you invite him on. So Jared came up with a lot of cool questions for us to discuss about trilogies. And I absolutely want to dive into them and ask you guys some of your thoughts. And again, in the chat, if you have thoughts about anything we're talking about, some of your favorite stuff, write them in there. We'll shout them out. Have a great little conversation about this world we love so much. So first, though, let's start basic, shall we? Star Wars films. We got 3 sets of trilogies, right? A trilogy of trilogies, if you will. Rank them. We got prequels, we got OT, and we got sequel. Now. Before we do this, here's the deal. If you've never listened to Utini before, we will not be shredding any of these things. We will not be saying one sucks, one doesn't. I simply want to know, how do you guys rank, now that they're all done, each trilogy in your mind? Jared, you're the guest on the show. Let's start with you.
I remember waiting in line for, it was episode 7 or 8 and saying to my friends, remember when you could go to the movies with friends?
Oh.
Anyway, I remember saying,
Don't tell that to Corey. Corey never wants to go back to the movie theater.
I remember it was like a big church event. Every time a new Star Wars movie would come out, we'd take all the teenagers because they're very diverse, different interests. But the one thing they all had in common was they were all Star Wars fans. So it's like anytime there was a new Star Wars movie, we'd be going as a big group, which was fun. I remember saying then there's no possible way that the sequel trilogy could ever be better than the originals or worse than the prequels. And I don't know that I agree anymore.
Interesting.
I have not, and I'm interested to hear your take on that. I think for me, I'm going to go originals, prequels, sequels.
Sure.
But honestly, I want to go special editions, number 1, even higher than the regular original trilogy. I'm trying to fish out my box set here. Just for Cheryl, just to say, did Greedo shot first? All right.
Heck yes. Nice.
All right, fair enough. Corey, what about you, man? How do you rate the trilogies? Now we're done.
You know, I think I'm kind of with you, Jared. I think that I think the sequel trilogy certainly surprised us, and I actually have maybe a surprising answer for Wes and Eric. You guys may not expect me to say this. I think I would actually rank the prequel trilogy higher than the original trilogy, as far as a consistent. You know, I mean, the storytelling that happens in the original in the prequel trilogy is a very tried and true story. I mean, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like, I mean, it does everything it's supposed to do really nicely. Whereas, you know, the original trilogy is a little all over the place, right? I mean, they blow up the Death Star, then they get their asses kicked, and then they have another Death Star. Like, okay,
yeah, that's right. And if you read the Jedi Academy trilogy, there's a 3rd Death Star.
I know. Exactly, right? So, I mean, you know, to me, I don't think that Return of the Jedi was as satisfying of a conclusion as I think the Revenge of the Sith was, if we're talking about only in the context of trilogies. So, you know.
All right. So you go so where does sequel fall for you?
Okay, I would say the rank I would go prequel, then OT, then sequel.
Okay,
I would put
fair
sequel
enough.
number 3.
Fair enough. Wes, how about you?
So my rankings are, I mean, it's razor thin on who is second and who is third. And I agree with a lot of things that Corey said, and I agree with a lot of things that Jared said. But I mean, my rankings, ultimately, I go with the OT first because that's how I first got introduced. But the hard thing for me is that I'm going to rank the prequel trilogy at 2, but my favorite character comes out of the sequel trilogy, which is Rey, which is hard for me to rank between 2 and 3, really. I mean, I love the story, like the progression of the story through in the prequels, and then I love the whole I love the Rey from nowhere, and then it didn't be from nowhere.
It was different.
It was definitely from somewhere at the very end.
It was from everywhere, actually.
So yeah, that's kind of where I put it. But I mean, the rankings, I mean, they're very subtle. They're not like drastic drops, I guess you could say.
Oh, that's fair.
Eric, how about you? What do you pick as yours?
The host never gets asked.
I never get asked. It's never how are you, Eric?
Nobody cares, Eric. Just move the show along. Come on.
Let's keep up the momentum. It's be funny. It's be an all-time host. So I agree. It's tough because like 2 of my top 3 favorite Star Wars movies are probably sequel trilogy films. But lately, whenever I think of like Star Wars era, like I find myself thinking of the prequel era. Like just that's what I'm identifying in my head is like what I'm in the mood for all the time. But then I'm like, who do you think Star Wars? I'm like, oh, Han, Luke, Leia. So it's like they all 3 occupy such a specific space in my head. But if we're just looking at the films, I think, man. Okay. I think I'll go. No.
If only there was only one more Ewok movie, then this would all be so much
That'd
easier.
be all set. All right. I think I'll say at this moment in time,
March 8th.
Prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, original trilogy. Maybe right now. It's weird. Yeah, like because it's like the vibe and then the film.
Eric.
I don't know.
There's no way I heard that right. There's no way.
It's so weird. Because I think I want to read books about the prequels right now is what I really want to do. I want more of Rey. I want more of Ben. I want more like of the filmmaking of the sequel trilogy. And then also though, like anytime freaking Han Solo or Luke Skywalker show up, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like it's a beautiful. But I think that's what makes the Star Wars trilogy of trilogies honestly work so well, is that they are so different. You know what I mean? And like they are one story, but they also make that kind of separation. So, okay, shake that off. Wow. Okay, that was a lot more tense than I thought.
Yeah, a couple of people in the chat are saying that they put the sequels first. Be Nasty and Emma are both putting sequel trilogy first. Honestly, I thought we'd all have the same answer, and so I'm surprised that there was some diversity here.
I'm always
for 4 white guys.
I'm always surprised.
That's right. Then we got Cad Ben prequel trilogy is first. Jose original trilogy is first. Yeah, like
it's all over the place.
But I think that's what's. Yeah, you can whatever you want.
Ask me next week and I'll have a different answer for you. I mean, it's like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I still haven't rewatched the sequels as a trilogy since Rise of Skywalker came out.
Nice.
I've been meaning to, but there's too many Legends books.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the truth. I did that at Christmas, man, and it like me and Caitlin did a full like really serious like intensely focused rewatch of the sequel trilogy, like of paying attention to all the details and like all kinds of stuff, and I loved it. I mean, it's I think if you think about it independently, it doesn't really work that well as a trilogy, but like when you watch them all back to back, it really does. Particularly Force Awakens and Last Jedi are like, it's a beautiful continuation of the same film. And then like,
I mean, in the acting as a whole too. I mean, there's just something about getting really freaking good. I mean, Adam Driver, I'll say right now, Adam Driver is the best actor in Star Wars, I think, for my money.
Yeah.
But I just love it when he bends over at the waist and then he just yells. I know, it's just amazing. Every time I'm like, he did the thing.
Well.
I find the conclusion of the original trilogy characters incredibly satisfying too. I think they did a really good job with all three
Lando,
endings. Yeah, all 3 endings of the main characters and getting Lando. I think it was great. I mean, it's got a lot of redeeming qualities for sure.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we're here because we're a Star Wars book podcast, guys. So we'll be at the films, but the trilogies don't stop there, y'all. The trilogies keep on going, obviously in book form. So I want to dive into those, but before we get into some specifics, I want to plug something because that's what we do on this show. So we plug other things we've made. Recently, Corey, Wes, Charles, we have made some specific collections on the Utini website that are series pages, have we not?
We totally have. We haven't talked about this at all on the show.
We haven't talked about it at all. No.
Not really. Have we talked about series pages in depth? I don't think so ever.
I sure haven't, and I remember most things we talk about.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. But if you're not being sarcastic, I can't remember what I had for breakfast. I don't think we've really talked about series pages very much. But I don't know if anybody else has discovered this, you guys in the chat. But we now have series pages for all the major series in Star Wars on our website. This is one of the big things that we upgraded when we change the site around this go around. I actually have one pulled up right here for you guys.
Let's do it.
This is the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy, for example. This is a Legends trilogy, and it's got its own page. It's got its own description, tell you about it. We have the average of all the books in the series and what it comes out to be. So you can even leave reviews, community reviews. You guys can leave reviews for series now, and there's all kinds of series. Basically, all the series in Star Wars are literally on the website now, so you can.
That's cool. I've been writing those like for a year.
That's right, Jared. You've been writing a lot of those for a long time. Yeah. I remember you and I talked about these pages about a year ago, probably. And
yeah, that's when I broke Webflow.
That's right. Totally broke Webflow.
The only time it's ever broken.
Let me find another one here. Here's the X-Wing series. Let's go there. And all these pages are really cool. They're automatically generated, so you have these sweet covers, and I love the effect that it does with them. And I also love that the math happens because it gives you the average reviews of like the whole. I think it's a pretty good way to rank the series.
Oh yeah, cool.
That's really cool. Really cool. You can also get to all the individual books from the pages as well. So check it out. Series pages are on the site.
Well, and speaking of the series review ratings, look at that segue. I want to ask you guys, we have our Legends trilogies, which is why, of course, we have Jared on the show. We have our canon trilogies, some of which I have sitting right next to me. Although, Jared, I want you to know, I see the Jedi Academy and the Corellian trilogy just for you.
I do see that.
I want to make sure I had those. But I want to ask you guys, let's go around, and what are some of your favorite trilogies? Let's start canon. There's not as many, so we may have similar answers. You know what?
Yeah, this is a tough one, Eric.
I never get to start. But I will straight up go out on a limb now and say my favorite canon trilogy is the Aftermath trilogy. I think it is a very controversial trilogy in Star Wars, but those are characters I still think about on a pretty decent basis, and they don't show up literally anywhere else. So I think it speaks to the strength of the writing. And how it affected me. So I'm going to say my Aftermath trilogy is my favorite in canon. And we'll go popcorn style. Whoever wants to go next. Because I know this is a tougher question.
I'll take the Thrawn trilogy. You guys know how the unofficial Thrawn trilogy.
That's right. We got to disambiguate with the Thrawn trilogy.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
This is the one and only Thrawn trilogy.
I know.
We call it the canon unofficial Thrawn trilogy.
The canon unofficial Thrawn trilogy that starts with the book titled Thrawn. It was one of the earlier books in canon. I still loved that book. It's still one of my favorites.
It's a great book.
Gives his origin story and whatnot. Jared, what do you think of Thrawn? Like you're a big Legends fan and a big Thrawn fan.
All right, we're a positive show. I have not loved the canon Thrawn stuff. It's like they revere Timothy Zahn so much that they're just like, do whatever you want and you can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And like they need him on a stricter leash. I was reading Chaos Rising the other day. I was like, this is so technical.
Yeah.
It's so dense.
Maybe
it's a different version of Thrawn.
We've talked about that a lot on the show, that like maybe him maybe it's the leash actually that has made him a little more tied, because I feel like the new two books that he has are much better than the unofficial Thrawn trilogy, right? And we have sort of postulated on this show that maybe because he was sort of forced to write within the confines of the Rebels TV show, that it may have hindered him a little bit. So the original
Thrawn trilogy.
The original Thrawn trilogy, both in Legends, and the book titled Thrawn is still one of my favorite canon books. I love that book.
Okay.
Yeah, it is very good. Very good.
Wes and Jared, you can double up if you like. Canon trilogies. We're running out pretty quick.
Okay, so my favorite trilogy to be, I guess, we could say the Queen's Peril, Queen's Shadow.
We can.
Queen's Hope. Yeah, so that one I really like because it ties so well into the prequel trilogy, the movies. And it's like, it definitely puts that different perspective on the movies after you read it. You're like, I know exactly who those people and the background characters are and what they're doing right at this moment and what they're going to be doing in the next couple scenes while somebody else is doing something else.
Let's see if is that true? Can you name the handmaidens? Do you know
I
what
sure
they
can.
do?
I sure
All right,
can.
let's see it.
All right, I'll be back. I'm gonna go to my closet and get my shirt.
Wait, no. Leave your clothes on. Here's the
Let's
thing.
not go that far.
I guess this leaves me with the what are those called? The Alphabet Squadron trilogy, because that would leave me. Is that the last? Are there any other canon trilogies?
Well, we have
not
the
as of
new.
right now.
We're gonna have the new Thrawn trilogy in
Right.
addition to
But
the
there's only
unofficial
one
Thrawn
book, yes.
trilogy.
Okay, sure, yeah.
There is. Is there anything else?
Well,
at the book
there
shelf.
was the trilogy of like young reader. All right, I guess I could go with those. No, I mean Alphabet Squadron. I mean, it's just a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. I think some of the best character work ever. I was gonna say I could go with like a Weapon of the Jedi, Smuggler's Run. And
Oh God,
Oh,
yeah.
a book
Great
from
ones.
Journey to the Force Awakens. Those are fine. Phil Noto art in them is great. No, Alphabet Squadron. What's the name of the torture droid? ITO. Oh man.
ITO.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Therapist.
Love that. I was explaining it to my wife because she was like, I really love books that rip your heart out. I was like, this is it. You've got to read it. You're going to do it. You're going to read a Star Wars book. There's a torture droid that's actually a therapist. She was like, no, I'm done. I'm out.
Oh. But which I gotta say though, that I still think, because I mean Alphabet Squadron is amazing, right? I think the trilogy is great, and tune in like in 5 weeks or whatever it's gonna be. I'll go to Coda. I'll make the calendar for our for our roundtable on it. But I still think that one chapter of Shadowfall with ITO and Aiden and Erica Quell is still maybe the most discussed single chapter of like any Star Wars book in the last like 5 years.
It's amazing.
Really great stuff.
No, interestingly enough, I have some numbers for you. I think this might be actually interesting.
I love numbers.
I took our book database, which I am always fiddling with, really quickly while you guys were talking about your favorite series there, and I filtered everything out and I sorted it and did some fancy magic to it, and I have now the rankings of some of the averages, if you will, of the best series sorted by like what's the best, right? So the number one rated trilogy. Do you guys want to guess what it is? If you had to guess, what would you think?
Is this canon?
All of them,
Right.
canon or Legends.
Oh,
All of them?
Yes, any trilogy. What's your best guess?
It might be the original
I
Thrawn
say-
trilogy.
I think
It
it's
could
okay.
be the Han Solo
The original
trilogy, though.
Thrawn or Bane?
All right, hold on. So
Oh yeah.
I'll think of something different because I think it's Thrawn, but Bane would definitely have been my second choice.
It is Bane. Bane is the number
right.
one
Okay, it is
rated
Bane.
trilogy. It has an average score of 9.1. Is the
It's
the
so damn good.
highest
Bane is the
rated
number one
trilogy.
and number two because there can only be two.
That's right.
Nice.
Let's see here. The second highest is shockingly, I find this pretty shocking. Actually, not that shocking. All right, there's a tie actually for number two between the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. I guess you could call it that.
That's one book.
That's
Yeah.
No, there's
Yeah, get it out of here.
Okay, that's true. That's true. I guess that's technically one book. So let's scrap that one. You know,
But
it's
hey,
sorted,
it's great. It's a
sorted in
great
weird
trilogy
way.
so
That's
far.
true. The Han Solo trilogy is also tied with that one. It's 8.8.
Which Han
That's
Solo
great.
trilogy? Because
The-
there's multiple.
AC Crispin Han Solo trilogy.
All right.
Okay.
And then the Legends Thrawn trilogy is, I guess, number 3. Also has an 8.8. It's tied with Han Solo.
Totally fair.
I'll give you a
Yeah.
couple
Where's
more
Where's the
here.
Lando? Where's the Lando trilogy at?
Oh, it's down there. It's on there, but it's down there.
It's down there. The next one.
Come
Next
on.
one is Alphabet. I'll mention that one because it's canon.
Yeah.
8.6, and then I'll do one more. Let's see here. What's the next trilogy? Oh, the E.K. Johnson trilogy, the Padme books. That's we're in our database. We're calling it the Queen trilogy so far
Okay.
because it doesn't have an
Yeah.
official
Yeah.
name yet. So it's pretty neat.
Oh, I love
Queen's
that. Well, hey,
trilogy.
Bane.
I do wanna go on
Bane's
that.
up there for sure.
yeah. Well, speaking of that, let's then go into our next thing. We're talking about our top Legends trilogies. Let's go around the horn again. So if you had to pick, all right, Jared, I'll give you this gift. Your favorite Legends trilogy.
Okay. All right.
Don't pee your pants, Jared. Good
This
God.
is recorded. This is on
All right,
the internet forever.
Okay. Everybody. Anybody want to guess? This one's easy.
Ooh.
It's
It's really
Thrawn.
easy.
Thrawn
It's not
trilogy.
Thrawn. No.
No?
No.
Okay,
No.
hold on.
You can do it. I'll
Your
give you a hint.
favorite.
I'll give you a hint. It's got
Yeah.
naked Palpatine.
Dark
The-
Empire.
That's right. Yeah. The Dark
Dark
Empire trilogy.
Empire
See, you weren't
trilogy.
thinking that I was going to say comics.
Oh, that's a great
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Then. It still counts. Okay.
You know, obviously, Dark Empire 2 and then Empire's End, they're not as strong as the original. But it is just so incredibly weird and cinematic, and it's dark, and it introduces some new characters, and it gives every single original trilogy character an interesting arc. So I like it for that. It's just so incredibly picturesque with Cam Kennedy's art. So that's my number one choice. Obviously, other masterpieces would be Bane or the Thrawn trilogy. I've got some obscure stuff we're going to talk about too later.
Oh, fantastic!
So you thought I was going to say the Darkness trilogy, didn't you? With the bug people and the mind control and.
Yup, that's it. That's one.
That is maybe the worst trilogy.
Your shirt. I was just going to go off of your shirt there.
Yeah.
That's probably the correct answer.
Oh, no, correct answer is whatever is in your heart, right?
That's right.
I'll jump in here. I'm going to take my bet as someone who's read a few less Legends. So I want to go a little earlier in the squad. I'm going to say the Crispin Han Solo trilogy. We mentioned it in the top. That trilogy just gets me in my emotions. I love my smugglers. But the way that Crispin writes Han is incredible.
I remember when you first read the Han Solo trilogy, man. You had not been on the team very long at all, and was it the first Legends book you ever read? I think it may have been.
It was definitely one of the first
as an adult, the first adult novel you read as an adult.
Yeah,
it was in there really early. Yeah, I remember I sent you those special when we were doing book boxes back in the day, and. Watching that unfold in the chat, there was a little bit of a renaissance of the Han Solo trilogy. Oh, there you go. There's the Barnes and Noble.
Look at that smoking hut on the back. I mean, it's just amazing.
Good.
It's really good. Do they still print that, Jared? Can you still get that new?
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't been in a bookstore in over a year.
That's true. Fair enough.
No, I think that Charles would probably agree. And he's a big fan of those. And of course, if you're looking for one episode of Legends Lookback to listen to, it might be our best episode ever when Eric and Charlie came on to talk about Paradise Snare. Yeah, we went over 2 hours. I mean, we talked about corruption in religion. We talked about drugs. We talked about slug people. Are they yaks or slugs? On Elysia.
Oh, man. I pictured
the rhinos,
things, rhinos, slug rhinos. I don't know, something crazy.
Slug, drug, and rhinos. Yeah. So AC Crispin Han Solo trilogy gets mine. Wes and Corey, we've taken Dark Empire and Han Solo off the table.
Yeah. Wes, you go first.
Okay, so mine's going to be the Bane trilogy because I hammered that series and it was great. But I've probably read 3 Legends trilogies, so it's that one, and then the original Thrawn trilogy was my first ever Star Wars books, and then I read the Lando Calrissian trilogy, because Corey sent it to me in a book box.
Did you really? Those are some of the only Legends books I have not finished. I DNF'd the first one. I couldn't do it.
Let me tell you, man, it was a little rough to get through. I remember a pyramid and him running around with this weird droid that I was trying to picture in my head.
Raw. Yeah, because that's a droid name.
Wow.
All right, you'll be our guest on Legends Look Back when we get to those. In 10 years.
And I have a bone to pick with you, Corey. It's been about 2 years, but I remember signing up for the graphic novel month, and you sent me that damn Lando Calrissian book. And I asked you about it, and I got no response. You're lucky I'm still here, by the way.
I don't remember this at all. I have no memory of this whatsoever. Oh man, that's how I handled customer service back when we sold book boxes. I just, if they email you or whatever, just ignore them. Eventually they'll just stop emailing you. So, number one, that's right.
Wow. All right. Real quick, Rob Neese in the chat. He's got the Han Solo Adventures. So there's our Brian Daly love.
That's right. That's right.
For sure. Corey, what do you got? Our last Legends trilogy.
I have one I want to drop, and then I have an honorable mention. I'm gonna cheat.
Excellent.
I'm gonna cheat. All right. The first one I'm gonna choose is actually what I had up on the screen a minute ago. I'll flip back to it, and that's the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy.
Wow.
Yeah. This one is much more lesser known, but is I have a lot of fond memories of this trilogy for whatever reason. I can just remember a lot of details about it. I mean, you get a lot of Boba Fett in here, and a lot of drama between the crime syndicates. It was really good.
They are bonkers.
It is.
Absolutely bonkers.
They're really, really crazy. Prince Zizor, I think's his name, right? Prince Zizor is in it. It's crazy. 7.5 is not a great score, I guess, on the site, but I have a lot of fond memories of this series.
Hey, it's cool because
It has like these flashbacks to how Boba Fett escaped from the
That's
Sarlacc.
right.
Spoiler alert: he escaped in canon and Legends,
Wow.
which is fun. And but then like the main story is this rivalry going on in the Bounty Hunter Guild. It really jives well with the Mandalorian, honestly.
It does, and I imagine a great deal of the Mandalorian was probably inspired by some of these. I mean, there's a lot of similar themes that are in these. So I picked that one as my favorite Legends trilogy, and then I have a honorable mention here, which is I want to call this a trilogy, but it technically does have this extra book in here, and it's the Coruscant Nights series.
Yeah, man, I'm reading those right now.
Sure.
Yeah, the original Last Jedi, right?
That's right.
Yep.
The third book or the fourth book, technically in the series, takes place like much later than the other three books, and was called The Last Jedi. Interestingly enough, I wonder if they faced any. I guess they own all the rights. I was wondering
They
if
own
they.
it all.
What are they gonna sue themselves?
How mad did somebody get when they ordered The Last Jedi and got that? In the
Well, if they get the hardback, that thing is actually worth like,
It is.
hundreds of dollars.
It's one
so
of
rare.
it's one of the
wow.
super rare Legends books that's hard to find in hardcover. But yeah, this
I'm
one's
reading
good.
it right now. I'm reading it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. I enjoyed this one a
Nice.
lot. It's got one of the best sort of droid sidekicks in all of
Absolutely.
Legends, I believe.
Oh,
I
hell,
had
I5.
What's his name?
I5YQ. Everybody say that 5 times fast.
I5YQ. Yeah, I cannot even remember his name. I haven't read these books it's been over a decade.
I would say the most underrated Legends trilogy. Boom.
Nice.
Mic drop.
Nice.
All
nice.
right.
I like that.
That's pretty good. All right. On that note, though, we did kind of mention the Thrawn trilogy a couple times, and Corey, didn't we want to do a special thing?
I do.
Speaking
yes.
of the Thrawn trilogy,
I like doing special things. On my bookshelf, you see behind me, I have a lot of leftover inventory from back when we started, when we were selling book boxes, and I got a lot of books that we should really give away because I don't need 3 copies of, I Jedi or 20 copies because I have way too many damn copies of I Jedi, and I want to get rid of them. But
One can never have too many.
I have a copy of Heir to the Empire paperback here. This is the newer one with the newer cover that we want to give away tonight. So if you're in our chat and you do not currently own a copy of Heir to the Empire, this is honor system, right? Drop us a message that you guys do not own this, and we'll do a random giveaway here in about 5 minutes. I'll throw some numbers in a generator or something like that, and we'll pick somebody. So if you've not read Heir to the Empire, you don't own it, throw your name in the chat, and we'll give it away. You'll have to email me your address at corey@utm.com if you win, and I'll send it to you.
I actually don't own that version, so I'm going to enter the giveaway.
My
I own it in
God.
hardback. I own it in paperback. I own it on Kindle. I own it as an Audible book. I don't own that version, though.
You don't
Is it
own the
Jared,
new
though?
version is sick
No.
though. I love the new version because
Yeah.
you can put them all together, the 3 of them, and they make that cool image on your shelf.
What's a website? Club Jade, back when those were announced, 5-6 years ago, they
Wow.
did the math, and the new covers have 270% more Thrawn.
wow, yep, because
He was
so
barely
little.
on them in the
Wow.
first place.
Well, Jared, this has the Legends banner, which I know you love on all your books.
Yeah, I don't. But I am a collector. No. We've got a couple people here saying they don't have it, so this is going to change your life.
It is
Awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, I will give you now. You always do other things during the show anyway. I'll give you official permission to look at the chat like you're doing right now, and get some people into our list while I ask the rest of us. Moving on to some trilogy ideas. Jared, you mentioned this earlier. There are some really big trilogies in Star Wars. Obviously, the films being the biggest, the Thrawn trilogy, the Aftermath trilogy, Alphabet Squadron were pitched as giant trilogies. But there's some lesser known, more obscure trilogies in Star Wars. So I wanted to ask you, before we go around the horn to see if we can pick some out, what is your favorite lesser known, obscure Star Wars trilogy?
Honestly, I'm impressed with how many we've already mentioned so far.
It's pretty good, right?
I'm gonna give a shout out to the Empire and Rebellion trilogy, the trilogy that's not actually a trilogy.
The duology?
yeah. Well, it is. It depends on how we count Heir to the
true.
Jedi.
Oh, we mustn't we?
Yeah, it's one of one of our team member Meg. It's one of her favorite books for sure. You should ask her about it in the Discord.
Lots of noodles, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. In that trilogy, it was like the end of Legends, and the idea was like we're going to go back to the original trio of characters. We're going to do a Han book, a Leia book, and a Luke book. And the Han book, Eric, I know we've talked about having you on Legends Lookback to cover this. It is Honor Among Thieves, absolutely one of the best Legends books.
Fantastic book.
It's just like a fun heist. It's a beach read. I mean, I guess you could read it anywhere. I read it at the beach. All right.
That's a great, because James just say Corey, who is the pen name of the writing duo who wrote the Expanse books. So if you're a fan of the
Yeah.
Expanse, they wrote a Star Wars book.
Absolute sci-fi juggernauts. Yeah, and then the Martha Wells wrote Razor's Edge. She just came back in From a Certain Point of View, Empire Strikes Back, and then there's Heir to the Jedi, which is canon.
Also, I've heard a book.
It's in canon, right? Yeah, so it's not actually a part of the trilogy, but it was originally. But it's not.
Although the Force Noodles scene is legendary. That's all you can say.
It's legendary, I will say. It's
very legendary.
All right, we do have a winner for Heir to the Jedi, and that is Cad Ben, man.
He said Heir to the Jedi.
Oh, no! Heir to the Empire! I won't send you Heir to the Jedi, although I bet I do have an extra copy of that back there, too. Heir to the Jedi, Cad Ben, you're the winner. Shoot me an email at corey@utini.com with your address, and I'll mail it to you next week, man.
Congratulations.
Dude. On that note, Corey West, do you guys have any kind of lesser-known trilogies? I will say I plan to, because I am, as many of you may know, forever in the pursuit of catching up in my Legends trilogy chronology. I'm currently reading Legacy of the Force still. I played a lot of video games this week, so I didn't make as much progress. I'll admit it. But like, I want to read the Corellian trilogy. I want to get some like Thraken Cell Solo in my life.
Corellian's a good choice, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to read some of those older ones. I just haven't yet.
Understood.
But Corey, you hit Bounty Hunter Wars, which again is a little smaller.
It's obscure. I mean, this might be a good segue into your next question I see in the outline here about talking about kind of informal trilogies. So we do have a lot of informal trilogies. Can we just go right into that?
West,
Wes's answer was Lando, the Lando trilogy.
Oh, Lando trilogy,
Yeah,
that's what you
that's
love?
definitely got to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go to our next part. So as you said, Corey, Star Wars is full of a lot of informal trilogies, unofficial trilogies that we as fans like to bunch together, or they'll all get published and then Del Rey will be like, oh yeah,
let's make some more money.
That was a trilogy. That's right.
That's right.
So for instance, like for the Dark Lord trilogy, which is Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, and Rise of Darth Vader, was packaged now as like the Dark Lord trilogy of books you can get, and stuff like that. Corey, you mentioned earlier, like Tarkin, Rogue One, kind of worked together a little bit like that, and Rebel Rising could be.
And the fun thing
be like
there
the Rogue One books
is like, the Darth Vader trilogy is sold as a trilogy. Post, after they were published, they said, yeah, now it's a trilogy, even though it wasn't originally. And the fun thing about this is we as fans can just go wild with making our own. They're like, there's no rules. Del Rey says so. Like, we can just make something a trilogy after the fact. So that's what's so fun about saying, like, what is the Rogue One trilogy?
Yeah. So I'll add a new one, and Corey, I want to hear yours because you segued so beautifully. One of my favorite unofficial trilogies is Most Wanted, Solo novelization, and Last Shot.
Yeah.
I really like.
Yeah.
That all came around when Solo came out. Like all the Solo merchandising, immediately got forgotten by literally everyone.
Yeah.
But are a ton of fun. Most Wanted is still one of the best paced books I've ever read. Solo is one of the best novelizations for expansion ever. And Last Shot literally got Daniel Jose Older a seat at the High Republic table. So like, it's if you haven't checked those out because you didn't go to Denny's during Solo or whatever the hell they were trying to do, highly recommend.
Man.
And also
I went to Denny's so
really
many times.
Well, so Corey, what were you going to say?
I was going to say the Dark Lord trilogy is one of my favorite lesser known just sort of groups of books, and I actually did read those books originally for the first time as a trilogy. That was the first time I read any of those books. As I started with what's the first one called?
Labyrinth of Evil.
Labyrinth of Evil. I started with Labyrinth of Evil, and then I read the novelization. I was like, holy shiitake, this is one of the best books, if not the best books I've ever read. This is unbelievable.
It is capital L literature is what it is.
Yes.
Is so unbelievably good. I think that was also probably the first novelization I ever read. And then I followed it with the rise of, is it called The Rise of Darth Vader? I think
so. I believe so.
Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, because one of the rules about Legends was you had to have a title that was like 3 lines long.
Is that real? Is that a real? This is a joke?
No. It's just I just love showing my wife that there's a book called Star Wars New Jedi Order Force Heretic
Part 1
Reunion.
Yes. Part 1.
It's so long I've already fallen asleep.
Part 1, The Rise of the Union slash legacy of the era
Yeah.
of the
The
High
Legends
Republic.
thing, yeah.
Yes.
People
It's
thought
true.
the prequel, like the prequel, oh my gosh, what are they called at the beginning of the movies?
Oh, the crawl.
Crawl.
Credits?
Crawl?
Crawl. Oh my god, Crawl.
That's right.
I feel like
Just the
prequel
title.
Crawl was long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got another Darth Vader trilogy.
Yeah. Jared, what
I've
do you
got another informal Darth Vader trilogy. Just came up with this today. I want to see if you can give this the trilogy stamp of approval. What about the new canon Darth Vader comics? There are now 3 volumes of canon Darth
Ooh.
Vader comics. You could theoretically slot those in as a trilogy. So first was actually Darth Vader Volume 2, which was the Charles Soule baby Vader, right? As soon as he became Vader,
Yep.
how he like builds his lightsaber and
Mhm.
Yep.
deals with how sad he is about Padme, and there's
Yeah.
architecture in there too.
Yeah.
And then you've got the original Darth Vader Kieran Gillen series, which introduces
Yep.
Afra and all that, and then now the new ongoing Darth Vader comic trilogy.
With
Do you think we
Rick
could call
Pat-
that a trilogy?
I think we could, especially because Charles Soules is in Legend style. Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volume 2, and then the
Yeah.
name of the volume. So
That's
I think
right.
that's
So much
absolutely-
Darth Vader stories.
It
So
is.
many.
Yeah, that could
That's
totally
a great
work.
idea. I love those are. Yeah, they do fit each other very stylistically, but are 3 distinct. I love that. Wes, any ideas from you on some more informal ones? Then we'll go to the chat here for a little bit.
Oh, I don't know. There's so many
Great,
that I
Wes.
don't know
Good.
about. I mean, what will there be a third Myths and Fables? That could be a trilogy that we could hold
Will
on
be,
to,
actually.
right?
Let's
There
hope
will be.
so.
It's the
That'd be
Kevin
great.
Scott George Mann one. It's the Christmas one.
Yeah, I like
Oh.
those.
The holiday special. That's cool.
Oh, that's a great point. Looking in the chat here, we got some fun ones. John Dutch Vander says the Tales trilogy, Bounty Hunters, Jabba's Palace, Cantina. That's a fun one.
I thought there was 4.
Well, there's actually 5. We want to get technical.
Oh,
2 of them are
Damn it,
actually.
I thought I had it.
There are 3 that were actually, original short stories composed for these books, edited by Kevin J. Anderson, and then the other 2 volumes are actually just republications of short stories from the Star Wars Adventure Journal. And yes, I did learn that from Trevor.
That's right. Okay, I was gonna say that doesn't sound like a person. No, that was great.
Yeah, just channeling my inner Trevor.
Yeah. Let's see. We also have who's that? Maggie said the Rogue One trilogy, which is great. Which we mentioned Tarkin earlier, but I think the most apt Rogue One trilogy is probably going to be Rebel Rising, the Rogue One novelization, and then Catalyst, or Catalyst before Rogue One. But like those 3 really came out all with the movie.
Yeah.
Which I do think they've done pretty well, honestly, with a lot of the movies, like really putting books around them. So those are all fantastic ones as well. And I want to ask you guys, why do you feel that we as fans are drawn to grouping things like this? Like, why do we constantly try to do the mental gymnastics of making a trilogy of unrelated media?
I don't have enough literature training to answer this question well, but like I imagine there's something really innately enjoyable about a beginning, a middle, and an end for literature.
Sure.
Like it organizes itself nicely. I mean, that's kind of the way a single film does well, right? You have an introduction, you have like a middle lull period, and then a heroic climax in films, right? So we're just kind of used to that format in storytelling, I feel like. So I don't know, drawn to 3s, I guess. This is what the chat's throwing up. We're all drawn to 3s. So
Yeah, rule of 3, like in comedy, works that way. And there is kind of that thing where after the second book, you're like, oh, that was good, but isn't there just a little more? But if you could hear about a 4th book, you're like, oh, this is going for a while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wait, what do you even call a series of 4 books? A quadrilogy? Quadrology?
Trilogy. It's
I
too
know.
much.
Yeah, that's the Old Republic books, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
Or the
it's
KOTOR
weird.
books, sorry.
It makes
the
it
KOTOR
makes them
books?
it makes
Yeah.
them weird. Like I find myself not able to recommend a series if it's got more than 3 books. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's a
I just-
trilogy with a
9 or
sequel.
19. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Well, I think that also, I mean, people like the tie-ins, right? So you read one book, and then if it's not an official trilogy, and you read another book, you're like, that tied into that other book, and you're like, oh wow, these kind of mesh well together. And then it's not specifically in a trilogy, and you read another book, and that's kind of in the same era, and then you're like, oh, okay, all right, because back then, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they had to talk to each other a little bit just to make sure that each character wasn't I don't know.
Yeah,
it depends on
send
what
each
era
other,
we're talking about.
Yeah.
they send each other, carrier
Just a note.
pigeons and things like that, right?
That's what I was like.
Yeah.
Rotary
They,
phone.
they got better at it as time went on.
Yeah. Unless you're Kevin J. Anderson, who didn't care what anyone else wrote and said, this is what Star Wars is.
Well, I actually found out, there was a little bit more behind the scenes. Last minute, he was given this information that he needed to retcon in the Dark Empire trilogy after the Thrawn trilogy, and so it's not all his fault. Let's give him
All right. Well,
some
I'll back
credit.
off a smidge on him. Actually, here before our one of our last categories, another one that's unofficial just kind of popped into my mind, and that's the unofficial duology of Master and Apprentice and Dooku Jedi Lost, which I call the Rail Avaros duology.
Oh yeah, we need one more. Let's make that a trill.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
Absolutely.
I need
I've got another one too. A
Yeah.
Maul trilogy. You could do Plagueis,
That's right.
Shadowhunter, and Lockdown.
Ooh,
Maul has a
good.
really fun arc in Plagueis. Obviously, he takes up 10% of the book. It's like
Right.
a 470-page book. So if you're just looking for Maul, you don't know what you're in for. But it's I absolutely love Legends Maul.
Yeah, he's great.
Lockdown is
And-
one of your favorite books, if all time, if I remember correctly, Jared.
Shadowhunter is.
Shadowhunter,
And
okay.
actually, if we really want to get into this, in a lot of ways, is the beginning of the Coruscant Nights trilogy. The author, Michael Reeves, basically just wrote this long story. He just writes his own universe, like his own characters, and it all culminates in The Last Jedi, which I've been on for like a month now. It's long, very long.
Oh, you're so great. You're great. And of course, if you want to see some of these informal trilogies or duologies, you can head over to UT.com and look at the collections, because that Maul collection is going to have all those books in it. Look at that.
That's right.
Made it. Now, of course, one of the things we like to do on these more less news focused kind of chatty episodes, we like to end with some hope and some things that we would like. So now I would like to ask you fellas, and of course, our friends in the chat, two final questions. One, what character or setting or topic, anything like that, would you most want a trilogy of? Now we're getting so many things right now. We're getting a Padme trilogy, which is incredible. We're getting a new Thrawn trilogy. We're getting a lot of things on our wish list that are knocked off. But if there's a brand new thing that hasn't even had a trilogy murmured about it yet, what do you want? What's on your wish list?
I'll start.
Do it.
So I think this sprang from the Dooku Jedi Lost audiobook. But I would like a Master Sifo-Dyas trilogy.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh man, that is
What?
an excellent choice, Wes.
Episode's
I love
over. He
that
wins.
a lot.
There's so many questions I have of how the damn clones were built, who authorized it, and
where'd
then
the money come from?
correct, and then
Those affiliate
like,
links. That's where.
the crazy headaches that he had, so
Yeah.
there's a lot there that hasn't been unpacked, and I think
Yeah.
3 books could do it.
Have you read
and
Plagueis
Dooku Jedi
yet?
Lost,
I have read Plagueis.
Okay, yeah, he's got a fun
Yeah.
little story in there.
but Dooku
I don't
Jedi Lost
remember
also
it.
set that up nicely.
It
Because
did.
you get like young Sifo-Dyas, and then like the Harry Potter times, having his first visions, and then going off to make the Clone Army, and then of course his like downfall and eventual death, which we find out about in season 6 of the Clone Wars. That's a whole life. I love that, Wes.
Yeah,
Dang. I'm gonna stall longer. Corey, Jared,
I got one.
go.
I want a trilogy that starts with I want a trilogy about the clones that we know in the TV show, the Clone Wars. I want a trilogy about them, specifically like Rex and Wolf and the guys we see in the Rebels TV show. I want a trilogy that starts with a bunch of their adventures towards the end of the Clone Wars. And I want Order 66 to happen 3/4 way through that book. I want the
Very
second
specific.
I want the second book to be everything that happens after Order 66 for a brief while, and then I want the third book to flash forward like 5 years and like get a little closer to like the Rebels TV show. Just all about Rex and Wolf,
Dang.
and that would be a hell of a series. I would
That's
love
I'm
to
just
see
picturing Corey with like one of those wall maps, but in front of his screen here, like where you've used the yarn to in the
that.
pushpins,
Exactly.
like solve a murder. He's actually already got ISBN numbers for all those books. So well planned out.
I've already ordered those, so Del Rey, hit me up. I'll sell them to you for a low price of something.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like I've got to give a Legendsy answer. I mean, that's kind of my thing,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
In fact, this is our next episode of Legends Lookback. We are going to be talking about the Legends books that never were.
Mhm.
So the books that either were in development and then canceled, or the books that were in development and written in their entirety. Some of these even already have covers that were fully designed, and for whatever reason, contract negotiation, continuity overwrites, some of these were canceled.
man.
The most notorious of these is the Sword of the Jedi trilogy.
Sword of the
So
Jedi.
it would have
Yeah.
followed Fate of the Jedi and Crucible. It's going to be all about Jaina Solo. You know, I'd like it. You know, if it's unofficial, if it's on somebody's floppy disk somewhere, I don't care. I want it. I need it.
All right. That's totally fair. All right, then I'll end us here with an answer I've given many times in very different ways. But I'll say I want the Fulcrum trilogy. I want
Oh yeah.
my Bale and Sabe and Cassian and like the discovery of how bad that the Empire is doing in the first book, where they kind of start to build it, and the second book when they're kind of at their power, and then they realize they have like, you know, a double agent from Palpatine within them that like kills a bunch of people, and then the third one is them realizing that, you know, they have to go off and do their own work in the rebellion, or like disappear or something like that. So I would like our assassin secret agent building a Fulcrum trilogy. Alternatively, I would like a Jedi Council trilogy of like the Plo Koon, the Kit Fisto, like the guys that were on the council when the Clone Wars were announced, and how we see the transition from Jedi Masters into generals into death. So
Only if Evan Peel dies one more time.
Oh,
in
God.
that he's the most dead Jedi Master in all of Star Wars.
that would be marvelous. But
Got some great answers here in the chat.
Yeah, read them out.
Yeah,
Let's end with some
Cat
chat
Ben
folks.
says he'd love an Aura Singh trilogy.
Ooh.
That's an excellent idea. In fact, she's got a fun little arc in the Coruscant Knights trilogy, which Corey plugged a little while ago.
Could be or a sing or a sang or a song.
Oh no! All right, I'm the host now. Eric is off the podcast. What else we got? John Dutch Vander says a Young Poe Dameron trilogy. Yeah, we've already got one of them, so
We're
let's
on
keep
our
it
way.
going. Absolutely. Adventures of Hondo from B Nasty.
Oh yes, that'd be very good.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
Emma had a Bo-Katan trilogy, especially with the
Oh yeah.
Siege of Mandalore. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Gerald
Infinite
says Ben
Mandalore
Solo.
books.
Predictable.
Mhm. We're getting there as well. I think like with the rise of Kylo Ren, I think can absolutely open up the door to those kind of unofficial trilogies. I love that.
Yeah, I think so.
And I got to say, as we're looking ahead towards Star Wars publishing, I think they've seen now how successful the trilogy ideas can be. I mean, Outfit Squadron really ending on this high note. So the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy really getting some steam. So I have no doubt in my mind, fellas, that going forward, we're going to get a lot more trilogies in Star Wars. I mean, heck, the High Republic is already kind of pitching Rising Storm as a Light of the Jedi sequel. So I think we can count all that going forward. And publishing is going to give us a lot more of these. And of course, you haven't read all the Legends trilogies, have you? If you're listening, of course you haven't. And you got to read them for Legends Lookback so you're ready. And on that, as we close out the night, we ran a little long, but it's trilogies. It's a trilogy of episodes all in one. I do want to say a special thank you tonight to our buddy Jared. Thank you for coming and chatting some Legends, some trilogies, even sneaking some canon into your mouth as hard as it was. We appreciate you, buddy. And tell the folks one more time what's coming up on Legends Lookback so they can see you.
Yeah, so no live show this week. We are giving Meg another week off due to the Dianoga infestation in her basement. We are going to be doing an audio-only special episode this weekend with our bud Trev from across the pond. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this one. I mean, we've got some fun stuff planned. We have acquired, above board, all right, we have acquired 2 Star Wars books, Legends books that were never published. All right, never officially. And we are going to be doing what I would like to consider, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say it as if it's true, the first ever roundtable of a Legends book that was never actually published.
Wow.
So we are going to be talking about all the Legends books that never actually came into fruition in their full form, but specifically a book called Heart of the Jedi, which was originally written in 1992, originally set right after Return of the Jedi. We have it. and we have read it,
by
and we're
Trevor
talking
Davey.
about it. No. I forget the author's name. His name is Ken something. Anyway, so excited for this. It's got. All right, here's the plug, and I'll be done. It's got Luke Skywalker jousting sand people on the back of banthas. I kid you not. Jousting on the back of banthas.
That is amazing.
Phenomenal. I'm to this day angry that we took you guys out from behind the paywall. But if that sounds fun to you, I mean, every week tune in to Legends Look Back, but especially this week. Can't wait for that. But on that note, my friends, that will do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. Again, next week, we are starting our Into the Dark Roundtable right here, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will see you then. If you support us on Patreon, we want to say thank you very much. We'll be doing an aftermath in the next couple of weeks to hang out with you once more and maybe celebrate a very special birthday near the end of the month. A special thank you, of course, goes out to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Kyle Hickman, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Wes is at Boss Wes. Jared is at Jared Q. Mays. Charles is at C. Hankel when he shows up, I guess. A special thank you goes out, though, to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, you producer and community manager, you. Thank you to Corey, Wes, and Jared for podcasting with me tonight. Thank you to all of you in the chat for hanging out and all of you listening later. Thank you to Dak Prescott for signing a contract extension. And as always, may the Force be with you.